Welcome to West Virginia Sports Connection. We're coming to you from Adelphia Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Charleston, West Virginia. I'm your host, Tracy Abdallah, and I'm joined by my co-host, three-time NFL All-Pro for the Minnesota Vikings, Carl Lee. Carl, welcome back, brother.
I'm glad to be back, ready for another show.
All right, listen, you know what? West Virginia had off this past weekend, right?
Yep.
Marshall did not. I want to start with Marshall. Now, Marshall is now 5-2. You know, a week ago, they were 3-2. We weren't sure what was going to happen. They're coming off of a loss. And now they're doing pretty well, and they rolled over Florida Atlantic. And at 5-2, what do you think is in Doc's mindset for the rest of the season for this team?
You got to play every week, and he's going to try to promote with that football team. Play every week. You got to play well. You need the quarterback to play well. That's going to be a critical point in their success. The only way that you're going to win these football games is you got to get ready for every single game. A lot of times, it's hard to get up every game. But when you don't, that's when you risk losing. And I don't know if they can afford another loss.
Well, as a former coach, how do you keep your team up like that? I mean, how every week after week after week, their bodies are hurting, the season's going on and on and on, and I know we'd love to play, but how do you keep them motivated?
I think any coach will probably tell you that that's the challenge. And even to the point of you can feel like your team had a great week of practice, and sometimes you've heard the term leave it on the field. You know, they can leave that in the week. So you really just try to make sure they understand the relevance and the importance of their goal, the team's goal. What are we trying to do? We're trying to get to the playoffs. We're trying to win the conference. We're trying to do whatever that thing is, and the only way we do that is everybody plays well.
Speaking of playing well, defensive player of the week in Conference USA, Malik Thompson. Man, this dude was a monster. He had a fumble recovery where it wasn't just a fumble recovery. He snatched it away from the running back, and then he had an interception. He had 9 tackles. I mean, can you play any better?
I think what's interesting about games that you play that well, you don't really know that you're going to play that well. And I'm not even sure in the midst of the game you know what you're actually doing. I think it's just a matter of like one of those times that you just get a rhythm. And once you get that rhythm, you're able just to keep going. And it just mounts and and the confidence. And again, what people really don't realize about playing in a game is the more confidence you have, just the better you're going to play. Because all of a sudden nobody can block you. You know, no one can catch a ball on you. Nobody can, you're going to throw completions every time. And you just believe yourself. And those are rare games, but when you have them, those are the ones you always go back to.
Is that what they refer to as in the zone? I mean, you're just playing out of your mind and you can't do any wrong. How do people tap into that? And once you've done that, how do you revisit that?
It's kind of like, and I'll give you the opposite of that. I can remember playing against the Bengals at home, and I just could not find anything. I couldn't cover anybody. I couldn't tackle anybody. I just couldn't do anything. Those things, whether it's in the zone or out of the zone, they just show up.
I've never heard anybody say that before.
You know, those games just show up. Sometimes you just can't do it. And the hardest piece is just being mentally strong enough to endure it. Because sometimes like I said, you're just in it and it requires nothing. When you're out of it, it requires literally everything. Because you can't give up on yourself. You can't say, man, this is a bad game and I'm not going to do anything. It's the first quarter. You know, you got 3 more quarters to go. So you just have to tough that out and fight your way through it.
How many times did that happen to you?
I'd probably say 3 times. But the example that I gave you, probably by far the worst. But I'll say this, Steve Largent, most people don't remember that name.
I remember that guy.
He was a receiver at the Seahawks, and he was about 90 years old, and I had just started to climb. My career had just started to climb, and I'm like thinking, you know, I'd seen him beat all the great corners, Hall of Fame guys, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, okay, I'm young enough, and he's not faster than me, I'm bigger than him, I'm just gonna go shut him down, and I'll get my name in lights. I'm still not covering him, okay? I mean, he caught so many balls on me, I think it was shameful. And there was nothing, I mean, literally, I knew there was nothing in the game that I could do. He just had me, and he was so smart, and I was too fresh. Forget the talent, he just understood how to run the routes, how to counter everything I was doing, and he beat me all that.
Experience over youth.
Yes, yes.
All right. Well,
I had all the youth and all that, and he had all the experience.
Well,
I lost.
That's okay. It's good you can admit that
Yeah,
every
I
now and
lost that
then.
one.
But you still did pretty good. I mean, we'll say that. So, where do you see this Marshall team going? I mean, they're 5-2 now, and you know, Doc's a pretty good coach.
He's a great coach. He's a great coach, and I'll even make the case that the thing about him as a great coach, he has enough old school in him to demand his team to do what he needs them to do. He's got the yelling and the screaming and the discipline. He has all that, but he's still able to connect with the players and get them to play well. To where I think this football team is going to go, I think they're somewhere in between thinking that they're good and not really sure. And I think that's going to show as the season continues, that they're going to have these hit and miss games. I don't think they're the team that most people want a Marshall team to be, Marshall fans, but I think that they're going to get there. And that's not a coach's fault. I just think it's just youth and just being able to get this group, this new kind of a group, to play together.
I want to flip over to West Virginia. They had an off week, right? Came off a bad loss. Mm-hmm. I mean, Iowa State just ran all over them. They couldn't do anything right. As a former coach, when you have a game like that, and then you have a bye week, and they've got like 10, 12 days to just kind of stew over that situation, where do you go with that? How do you channel that energy?
I think you almost throw those kind of games away. And I'm going to, that's a question we ought to ask Coach Edwards when he gets on set, because I think, for me, I'm thinking you almost have to throw that game away. You look at it, you learn the mistakes, and then you throw it away. And you say, okay, now we're starting all over because we got this bye week. We get a chance now to start over. And you don't even refer back to it. You see it, you see the mistakes, and you say, okay, it's done. We got a week. Let's go to work, get ourselves together, and get prepared for the next week. And you just go. And you really, literally try to put it behind you because it's not something you can linger on.
Can everybody do that? And specifically the Stars. I was listening to ESPN radio this morning. They were talking about Will Grier possibly going to the Giants. They're saying Eli's washed up and all this and that. Can Will Grier, with all the expectations that he has heaped upon him, and obviously you said he's an NFL talent.
I think he is, yes.
Is he any different than your third offensive lineman?
I think this is what makes players great. Players that are great, they can find reason why something went wrong, because it's never me. Like, I never got beat for a touchdown, right? I done something wrong. You know what I'm saying? Nobody beat me,
okay.
Right? Nobody beat me. I made a mistake. And you rationalize that in your head to a point to where you buy it. I mean, you just buy it. So great players become great because they know how to shut off the bad stuff. They don't carry it over. The guys who carry that bad stuff over and because now if you beat me once, and I've been beat on like a first play of the game. Somebody's throwing a long bomb on me, how they throw the first play and they go for a bomb. Like, for me, I got to let that go. I got 65 more plays.
All right, well, I'm going to have to cut you off there. I love talking to you and listening to these stories. We got to take a commercial break real quick. If you like what you see, you like West Virginia Sports Connection, you can check us out on Facebook. You can check us out on YouTube, on WVSportsConnection.com, our website, and on iTunes. Don't go away. We'll be right back with members of the George Washington High School football program.
West Virginia Sports Connection is brought to you by Subway, Development of West Virginia, Greg Hammond. With promotional consideration from Spriggs Distributing Company, Yuengling Golden Pilsner, Hendrickson and Long.
Welcome back to West Virginia Sports Connection. We are coming to you from Adelphia Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Charleston, West Virginia, with Carl Lee here, and we've just brought our guests on from the George Washington High School football program. We've got head coach Steve Edwards for GW. We've got the quarterback Grant Wells. We've got linebacker and fullback Dakota Cosby. So, guys, welcome down.
Thank you very much.
for having me.
I'm glad you're able to make it. And listen, I got to lead off. I got to lead off with that game against Riverside. That was one of the craziest games I think I've ever seen. I mean, the kid from Riverside, I don't know that I've ever seen this before. And I'm sorry, Coach, but I got to say this, 410 yards on 45. Carl and I were talking before the show, who even carries the ball 45 times anymore? So they had that, but obviously you guys won the game. So you did a little bit of something on your own as well. Coach, on a game like that, man, is it driving you nuts?
Well, yeah, it drives you nuts. You're looking for things to try to slow the guy down. That's all you could do. We knew going into the game he was a good running back. We knew that was going to be their attack. They couldn't throw the ball very well. And what we were trying to do, again, is slow the guy down and try to put points on the board. And we were able to do that. And I'm going to have to Mike Leach you like I mean, 411 yards, that stats doesn't mean anything. It was the 39 to 36 that meant anything to me.
Really
you know?
But let me ask you this, because typically, you know, if you, and as we know football, that next team is going to look at it and say, hey, maybe we can run the football. But is there anybody even interested in running the ball 45 times?
Well, if they watch our film, they are. I promise you that. It's going to be in their game plan. And it has been. We've had trouble. Ever since we've lost Dakota on the defensive side of the football, we've struggled trying to find a stopper. I don't have that big stopper. We don't have a lot of size. And those are the type of things. We've played different combinations on defense. We're trying to we've moved guys around in different spots. And I think we're getting closer. It doesn't sound like 411 yards on 45 carries, but we're getting closer and we're getting better, a little bit better as we're going along. And that's what we're trying to do. And that's all we can do when you lose a talent like Dakota on the defense side of the ball. We've really been trying to replace him. There's no replacing, but we're getting closer to filling a little bit of the gap.
And how easy is that for you to see? And how difficult is that for the fan that's looking at it, right? The fan, the GW fan's looking at that like, you know, Coach, hey, we gotta fix this. But you're looking at something totally different. Kind of give the fans an idea of like what you're looking at, why you see that being better.
Well, it is completely different because really what people are looking at is when you're looking at it as a fan, you're looking at it as a parent also. Mm-hmm. So you have a different invested interest in what's going on. I'm trying to figure out ways I can make it better for all 55 guys where we're all going to enjoy the whole evening together and be able to get a win. And they're thinking about one individual or a certain individual that they think can do the job. And it's a different. It's not as easy as you think. And we spend a lot of time watching film. We spend a lot of time evaluating ourselves. We've probably spent more time evaluating our own set of talent that we have on this team this year than we ever have in the previous years. And it's a tough job. It really is a tough job to differentiate about where maybe we've been playing this guy in the wrong position for 5 or 6 weeks. And we've made several mistakes, but it has been a process because when you lose something like Dakota in there, and he was such a solid and integral part of what we were doing that we depended on him a lot, and then we lost our security blanket, and we're trying to find another one, and there's more. It's a bigger blanket now than it was before, if you know what I mean, more guys involved in that blanket.
Dakota, when you hear what your coach is saying, you know, they depend on you a lot. When the injury happened, I mean, and you're watching your team, what do you do to help the team?
I try, because we're young, like all across the board. We have 4 big freshmen up on defensive line. We've got 3 linebackers that are sophomores. I try and tell them just stick in it. Like, these guys are older, they're more experienced, they're stronger. It's going to be all right. Just use your hands, rip, get off, and just hustle the ball.
With your injury, can you get in there? Can you kind of show them? Are you sort of like an assistant coach, for lack of a better word?
Yeah, I try. I try my best to be an assistant coach.
Grant is the quarterback. Now you know your defensive guy. He's down. He's out. How much more pressure does that put on you? Because you're the guy. You're the quarterback. I mean, everybody's looking to you to score it. Obviously, you got to score more points than the other team. So, how much pressure does that put on you?
Well, not too much. You know, like you said, you know, we got to outscore every team if we want to beat them. But yeah, like you said, it's got to be positive. Doesn't put too much pressure on me because I still got to do what I have to do to make this team as good as we can be. So yeah, we just gotta do our job every day.
You probably hate having to throw the ball all that many times, right? I mean,
I don't mind it.
yeah, I figured as much.
Grant, I like your choices in school, or at least the commitment to it. Anyway, just so you know
such a
that.
homer.
So, what's your view when you look at Marshall University and you look at the potential of going there, and what do you see your success being, and what do you think you're going to be able to bring to that football team?
I'm just gonna, take the same mindset I came into high school with. Try to make myself better, but at the same time make the team better. You can't go in asking for too much because you're gonna get let down. So take it a day at a time and just take what they give you. You can't ask for too much.
All right, I'm going to challenge you on one thing. Go and expect everything. Okay, go and expect everything. All right, what you don't get, you might not get, but don't play yourself short. All right, go with the idea that I'm going to change the program. I'm going to make the program, because that's the goal. All right, and you won't know your skill level until you push yourself in that place. All right, so that's the only thing I'm going to challenge you on, because I feel like that's critical for kids to go. I hate to say kids, but young men going to college, is some might shoot way too high, and then others may just say, well, I want to blend in. You're a good football player. Make them prove that you're not.
Yeah.
All right, so that's going to be my challenge to you.
Now, I got to ask you this, and I probably gush over Carl a little too much. I mean, this is a dude that played in the league for well over a decade. When he's telling you these things, what does it mean to you? How do you absorb that? How do you take that?
He's got to take it for every word he says. I've never really heard a pro tell me that before, obviously. So, yeah, it means a lot, especially knowing he's around here, he's been to Marshall, it means a lot. I'm just going to take that and really apply it to my mindset, really.
So you're set on Marshall. Dakota, you've got some offers from, or at least been recruited from several different schools.
Yeah.
I think you said EKU, Marshall, Cincinnati, WVU. Have you been to any of those schools yet?
Yeah, I've been to most of them actually over the summer and into the season.
Now, give us a little scoop here. Are you leaning towards one or the other, or you're just still enjoying the process?
And/or what are you looking for?
I'm enjoying the process right now, but what I'm looking for in a school is just a home vibe. Like what I get here, that's what I'm looking for in a school. And it's just something that makes me feel like home.
When you hear him say that, all right, what advice do you have for him? Because Grant's already decided, Dakota's not sure yet. How would you advise him?
If the reason why I signed at Marshall, I had gone to Marshall on a visit, and there was a coach there, and I was like, nah, I'm not going. I didn't like the field. And then a week later, Sonny Randall came in. He had played in the NFL. I came down the next week and I signed. I mean, because I felt like he was going to give me what I needed. He was going to help me with my process. So to me, when you go looking, it's got to fit you. But what are your goals? Where are you trying to get? That school has to offer that for you in order for you to go. Football program could be great. That's good, okay? But at the end of the day, where do you want to go? Where do you want to get to? And I think when you focus in on that, then you can't make the wrong choice.
Before we get that answer, we got to take another commercial break. So listen, if you like what you see, we're doing this every week at Adelphia Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Charleston. We would love to have you as a sponsor. I mean, look at this guy. And we get some good guests on, and I'm okay, I guess. So if you're looking to invest in us, please, we welcome all sponsors. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
You can do and you can say anything you want. Live your life and I'll live mine any way I want. You can have and you can take anything you want. But everything that you do, make it what you want. Anything you want. And I want. You can do and you can say anything you want. But everything that you do, make it what you want.
West Virginia Sports Connection is brought to you by Subway, Development of West Virginia, Greg Hammond. With promotional consideration from Spriggs Distributing Company, Yuengling Golden Pilsner, Hendrickson, and Long.
Welcome back to West Virginia Sports Connection. We are coming to you from Adelphia Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Charleston, West Virginia. My co-host Carl Lee and members of the George Washington High School football team, Coach Steve Edwards, quarterback Grant Wells, and linebacker Dakota Cosby. When we went out, you guys, I had to cut you off. I always got to cut you off when we go out. But he was kind of asking you, what do you want out of a school?
What he touched on was completely right. Like, something that's going to progress my life and exceed my goals. And I've looked, and I still really haven't found that piece yet. And hopefully tomorrow when I go on my visit, I'll fit in more pieces and hopefully maybe find my next home.
And your visit tomorrow is to?
West Virginia.
West Virginia. All right. Now,
Teammates at opposite ends of the state, huh?
we were talking in the break. Really, what role a coach, and Carl, you kind of brought it up, what role a coach plays in recruiting, because, you guys have been through this, right? And they're now going through it. What role do you play? How do you help these young men?
Well, I try to help them best I can. I try to give them as much advice as I can, and I don't try to force things on them. I let them ask me things, and then I'll offer my opinion on what I think's going on. I don't push them any which way. I don't push them to play. I don't push them to what school, but I do try to help them with their questions. And some of the questions sometimes is what do you think, Coach? What do you think I can play? Do you think I can play at this level? Do you think that that's where I would need to go, and what to do? And I also give them some good questions. I try to give them good questions to ask, and don't just go in there and just nod your head and shake a hand and look. I try to tell them, you need to go in and talk. You need to have a firm handshake. You need to look the man in the eye and have some questions when they want to ask. Ask what kind of whatever your course of study is. Ask them what do you have to offer? What do you think and then you ask them where do you think I fit in with what you want to do. The most important thing I think I try to say to them is, you're going to find out you love football and you like football, and everybody does, and you wouldn't do it if you didn't. But the one thing you're going to find out at the next level, no matter what level that is, do you need it? And you're going to run through a lot of moments where you're going, man, do I really need this? And I ran through it. It's from the homesickness to the hard work, to the going from being the stud or the star to you're just here and that kind of thing, and feeling sorry for yourself, and you don't have mom and dad there in that dorm room going, can I cry on your shoulder? You know what I mean? I mean, those are the type of things, and that's it. And I've had those moments, and I'm sure Carl had those moments, and I needed it. Look, I'm still doing it, so I do need it. So those are the type of things I try to tell them, and it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to be like that.
And my question to Sonny Randall when I was being recruited, after my second visit to Marshall was, am I going to play? Because in my head, I wanted to play as a freshman. I wanted to play right now because I wanted to play on Sunday, so I felt like I wanted to play. I want to start right away. And he was like, yeah, you're going to play. First game shows up. I'm sitting on the sideline. It took 3 weeks. And what you realize as a player, even in my own individual confidence, what I realized is there was a whole lot of stuff I didn't know.
Yes.
There's a whole lot of stuff that you just can't duplicate in high school moving to college. It's going to change. So there's some patience in it, but yet there is no reason to lose your own individual confidence, because that's the most critical piece. And I don't mean cockiness. The reality is just having confidence and believing that I can make that throw, that I can make that play. That becomes critical. People were leaving Marshall left and right. And guys used to ask me, are you going to quit? Are you going to leave? I was like, no, man. Once I got the plan, I won about 8 games in 4 years. But Marshall was for me because I had a coach who played in the NFL. And so I wasn't leaving. Because you're gonna run into a whole lot of different stuff that's going to want to make you leave. But, man, I'm telling you, if your goal is in that place, you got to fight it out. I mean, and I don't care where you go, but there's going to be those challenges. And there's going to be the next guy that's going to be equally as good or better. And the question is, are you willing to get down in the dirt and beat him out? Don't just leave. Don't just say, hey, I'm going to leave and go somewhere else because, they got a quarterback, they got a linebacker. No, go after it. That to me that's what you want. That's how you have to go in. I don't think there's any other way you can do it.
I hate to keep saying this, but again, when you hear a guy like this say that, I mean, does it kind of still you? Does it energize you? Because there's going to be tough days. You know, you guys are young, and we're not so young that we've been through life, you know, and you guys are just on that edge beginning it, but there's going to be some curveballs thrown your way. When you hear him say that, does it help build your resolve?
Yeah, of course, because I haven't been there yet, and obviously he's been there. The people that have given me the advice have been there. So yeah, you got to take exactly what they say and you know, believe that what they're saying is true because they've been there. I haven't been there yet. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's huge hearing this advice from them.
Very cool. Now listen, I want to get to something before we run out of time. I didn't know this, and you guys were talking before we ever started the show. I didn't know you all played against each other.
Yeah, at one time we played on the same team.
Yeah, we started on the same team.
Started
in
on
youth
the same
football.
team, youth football, when he was 8 years old with the Mustangs, and
Then he got to be a bad guy because he went to GW and I just South Charleston.
yeah, or vice versa.
What do you all remember about playing with and against each other?
I remember Carl being a very, very good ball player. I remember Carl. I remember being a tough guy, and we didn't like each other very well. And it was because we were from different schools. We were rivals, and I think those are things I remember. But I remember how tough he was. I remember. I've got video, and
I gotta watch
see
it.
that video.
I've got it. And but you know, but when we became teammates in the North-South game, those type of things just kind of went to wayside. You find out that he's a pretty good guy. He just likes to play ball, man, and he likes to get after it. And man, and we almost went to Marshall together. I mean, that was one of the choices I had too. So Coach Randall scared me and motivated him.
And to Stevie's point is like in high school, and I'm sure these guys understand it too. When you play another team, you want to go against that guy, and he was the guy. So him being a quarterback, me being a defensive back, I mean that was the battle, you know. And I guess he won it, you know, to say won. But then, and I did. I just had this. Oh, I just hated Stevie Evans. I didn't even know him. I had no idea who he was at that time. Well, we knew we played, but I didn't know that then. And I was like, oh gosh, he's this. We get to North-South, and it's like, hey man, what's up? And then we're friends today. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and
we are.
And we talk about what North-South did for us, and kids don't really embrace the North-South. And again, like you said, it was not 2 weeks. It used to be 2 weeks. So we were 2 weeks together. And guys that you played against that you hated, you didn't know them. You just, I mean, they become your best friend. And man, playing with them was like the best thing ever. You know, and like I said, I can appreciate now having this relationship with him. I've been up talking football with him. I'm a South Charleston guy, but I'm willing to come up and talk football with him because, hey, that's my friend.
You talk about how that's built. You know, to me, that's the beautiful thing about sports. You hear it all the time. You can take people from so many different backgrounds, and it doesn't matter. If you're invested in one team, it doesn't matter what your differences are. It doesn't matter what race you are, what creed, religion. None of that matters. What is it about sports that just does that? What is it that binds you together like that?
There's a lot of different things. It's the camaraderie. It's the trust. It's the common goals. We all have the same common goals. Whatever team we're playing on, our goals are all the same.
Steve, that's a beautiful answer, and we run out of time. I hate it. Will you guys come back?
Yeah.
All right. We'd love to have you back. Listen, thanks for watching West Virginia Sports Connection. And remember, if you like what you see, you can check us out on Facebook. You can check us out on YouTube, even on iTunes, and on our website at wvsportsconnection.com. And if you really like what you see, we would love to have you as a sponsor. You can just visit us on our website. Again, it's wvsportsconnection.com. We'll see you next time.